I was Eastbrook's fiancé and an unapologetic drama queen. Julian was sick to death of my antics, yet he indulged me in everything. Nestled in his arms, I tilted my head and asked Julian, "Why are you so good to me?" His face stayed frosty, but he sighed. "Because you're going to be my wife." Curious, I pressed, "And if I'm not your wife one day?" He pinched my nose and growled, "Then I'll kill you." Later, the Vance family found their biological daughter. I became fake and lost my right to throw tantrums. Facing the ridicule of the whole circle, I broke the engagement myself. When we met again, I trembled. "For old time's sake, could you not, kill me?" He laughed in pure rage. "Old time's sake. I'm halfway to murdering you right now." I stepped out of the master bath and found Julian on the sofa. He was mid-global conference, his charcoal gray suit so perfectly cut it didn't dare wrinkle. The laptop glow reflected off the sharp angles of his face. His lips were pressed thin in thought. He absently twisted the plain platinum band on his left ring finger long, sculpted fingers, knuckles defined. I loved teasing him while he worked. The way he fought to stay composed fascinated me. "Repeat the Q quarter-over-quarter growth rationale," he ordered, voice low but lethal. I settled on the opposite end of the sofa, tucked my silk robe lower, slid my foot under his hem, and threw him a sultry wink. The ridges of his abs greeted my soul. I traced slow circles with my toes. He frowned, caught my foot, and wordlessly told me to quit. I slipped free and lightly kicked him. The report droned on, but his attention was already mine. I leaned over, fingers slipping under his shirt. After 2 years together, I knew every button that short-circuited him. His breathing roughened. I smiled, smug. His face darkened. Snap, he slammed the laptop shut. I knew that sound spelled trouble and bolted. We'd rehearsed this scene so often he had the blocking memorized. I hadn't cleared 3 meters before he hauled me up by the waist and dumped me back on the sofa. Caging me with his arms. He murmured, "Ari, had your fun?" I flashed my best "please forgive me" grin. "I'm sorry, no, next time, I swear." Next time's tomorrow. Right now, it's my turn. The words were barely out when my robe's sash slithered to the floor. His scorching kisses blazed down my throat. I felt myself ignite. Outmatched, I could only let him mold me however he wanted. When he finally finished, it was past midnight. Exhausted, I lay against his chest, a single throw blanket over us. The room was chilly. I snuggled closer and complained, "My waist hurts and my legs are jelly, all your fault." "Drama queen." He said it, but still scooped me up and carried me to the master bath. He bathed me, blow-dried my hair, then tucked me into bed. Cradled in his arms, I looked up. "Julian, why are you so good to me?" Same cool face, same sigh. "Because you're going to be my wife. And if I'm not your wife one day?" He tweaked my nose threateningly. "Then I'll kill you." I squeaked and burrowed deeper into him, missing the fleeting smile in his eyes. I was yanked awake by my ringtone. The caller ID sobered me fast. "Dad, what's wrong?" Richard's voice was grave. "Ariel, come home now. We need to talk." After he hung up, my head still felt fuzzy. Surveying the love bites everywhere, I mentally cursed Julian 100 times. I pulled on a turtleneck and had the chauffeur drive me to the Vance estate. Inside, Mom was sobbing over a stranger. Dad sat nearby, face like stone. What on earth? Everyone looked at me as though words might break me. The girl in Mom's arms was Dad's mirror image. My stomach sank. Was I living the fake heiress trope for real? "Ari, you're not our biological child. Claire is." The sentence crashed over me like thunder. When I stayed mute, he added, "But if you want to stay, we can afford 2 daughters." Nothing else registered, only that I wasn't a Vance. I flashed back to every spoiled, arrogant stunt I'd pulled as the Vance princess, every enemy I'd made. How was the imposter supposed to survive this playground? And Julian, our engagement was a merger. Now I brought zero value. Would he or his board still want me? I stared at the parents I'd called mom and dad for 20 years, now strangers by blood. Finally, I asked, "Where are my Mr. Hayes?" Claire lifted her head from mom's shoulder. "They're in Riverside." Dad asked, "Do you want to go?" I nodded. I'd had 20 stolen years. Claire deserved them back. Mom leapt up, clutching my hand. "Ari, you don't even know them. Why go? The Vance family can feed one more." I smiled through the ache. "Mom, as long as you still call me daughter, I'll always be yours. I just need to meet them. They're my Mr. Hayes." She reluctantly let go. Back in my childhood room, I didn't know what I felt. My nose stung. On instinct, the first dialed Julian, then hung up before it rang. If I wasn't a Vance, was the engagement void? Maybe he'd been dying to be rid of me. I'd lorded myself over him only because of that ring. We'd never make it down the aisle now. His joking threat, "Then I'll kill you," echoed, and I actually shivered. The Vance family issued a press release that afternoon. My phone buzzed for hours. I spent the whole afternoon fielding calls to everyone pretending to check in, mostly digging for gossip, a few just hungry for a front row seat to my downfall. I couldn't care less about them. Worst case scenario, I keep my head down from now on. It's not like they can touch my real life. Only Julian never rang. I opened my contacts, tapped his name, stared at the screen, then snapped the phone shut. I hadn't planned to show at the welcome home reception. But watching mom and dad agonize over seating charts, I zipped myself into a gown anyway. Crystal chandeliers strobed across the ballroom, and every flash felt like a lifetime ago. I'd posed at 1,000 parties since childhood. None ever had me ready to crawl out of my skin. Eyes crawled over me, curious, gleeful, pitying. From my corner I watched mom and dad parade Claire from cousin to cousin, champagne flutes in hand, and couldn't name the taste in my mouth. Nasty little comments still arrowed straight to my ears. "Look at poor Ariel, half the sparkle she used to be. Poor. Remember the way she used to look through us." Exactly. Stole somebody else's name for 20 years. Now she's just returning the deposit. Any other night I'd have marched over and painted their champagne with my nail polish. I sipped, tuned them out like bad music, a soft scoff cut through, and I turned straight into Ivy. We'd been allergic to each other since kindergarten. Once Julian put a ring on me. Her hives got worse. "What? Hiding in the shadows? Misplaced your tiara and your spine." I ignored her. She cranked the volume. "Honestly, crawl back to wherever you came from and stop playing turtle." I leveled a stare. "Don't push me, Ivy." She tossed her hair, smirking. "Can't take a little truth." "I always said you weren't good enough for Julian. Now you're Exhibit A." I stepped closer, glass still in hand. She retreated an inch. "So I'm not fit for Julian, are you? Even if I toss him, your turn won't come." A commotion rippled near the doors. Julian in a tailored tux slicing through the crowd. His gaze found me, brows pinching just slightly. Then he looked away, handed a bare ribbon box to Claire, kissed mom's cheek, shook dad's hand. Sam slid beside me, smugness dripping. From the look of it, Julian's the one doing the dumping. He strutted off, rooster on victory lap. I dug crescents into my palms, watching Julian laugh with my father, heart stuttering in sharp little beats. Outside the hotel, I flagged a yellow cab and cried the whole ride home. The driver eyed me in the mirror. "Kid, get dumped." I sobbed harder. He panicked. "Hey, plenty of fish, pretty girl like you. Upgrade city." He was right. Millions of men, why waste tears on one? I wiped my face, dragged my suitcases out, booked the first red-eye to Riverside. Before takeoff, I texted Julian, "Let's break the engagement." Using Claire's scribbled address, I found Mr. Hayes. They fluttered, not sure whether to hug me or offer tea. The apartment was cramped but glowed with string lights and the smell of fresh coffee. They peppered me with gentle questions. I answered every one. Back in the tiny spare room, barely 200 square feet, I wondered if this had been Claire's universe. I traced dents in the second-hand dresser, picturing her hunched over homework. My phone blared. Julian's name flashed out. No courage to slide the icon, airplane mode. I flopped on the bed, staring at cracked plaster, mapping tomorrow. Evening light faded. Mr. Hayes tapped the door for dinner. Silver threads glinted at their temples, and I felt a sudden need to carry some of their weight. Dishes done, I opened my laptop and fired resumes into the void. When I powered the phone back on, missed calls and unread texts detonated, every one from Julian. "Ariel, you owe me an explanation. Where the hell are you? Pick up the damn phone. Call me now." I typed replies, deleted them line by line. Different planets now, eyes burning. I shut the phone and escaped into the shower. Next morning, a boutique marketing firm invited me to interview. I wore minimal makeup, shook the HR woman's hand, stated my salary range. She smiled and said, "Start tomorrow." I practically danced out of the lobby, then stopped cold. Julian leaned against his black Maybach, face storm dark. I rubbed my eyes, still there. He strode forward. "Run again and see what happens." I backed up. "For old time's sake, please don't murder me." A humorless laugh. "Old time's sake. I'm just seconds from throttling you." I closed my eyes. "Fine. Strangle me. All I've got left is a pulse anyway." He exhaled, scooped me up, and dumped me into the leather seat. I pressed my nails into my thighs, ordering myself not to cry. Julian studied me, voice rough. "Why break the engagement?" I stared out the window. "No reason. Just don't love you anymore." His breath hitched, fury flickering. "Ari, cut the crap." "I'm serious." He yanked me across the console, mouth crushing mine, pouring weeks of rage and want into the kiss. I shoved. He trapped my wrists above the seat, tasting of heat and revenge. "Keep saying stupid things and I'll keep shutting you up." Pinned against him, I had nowhere to go. So he still hasn't gotten his fill. Well, I suppose someone as entertaining and as compatible in bed as me is hard to come by. "Julian, I'm not a real Vance." "I know," he said. "Your family would never let you marry me." "I know that too." "Like hell you do." I wanted to scream. Then what does he want? For me to be his mistress. "Julian, I probably won't be coming back to Eastbrook." He blinked. "Why not?" "Because this is home now. My Mr. Hayes are here." He went quiet for a moment, then nodded. "All right, I respect your decision. I'll rearrange my schedule and come to Riverside as often as I can." "Suit yourself." I threw the words over my shoulder and reached for the door handle. He caught my wrist. "Stay with me tonight. I missed you." Memories of all our wild nights flashed through my mind and my cheeks burned. Julian noticed the color in my face and finally smiled. "Ari, what are you thinking about?" "Nothing. My parents are waiting for me for dinner." He couldn't talk me out of it, so he gave in. "I'll drive you back." At the table, Julian, impeccable in his suit, sat beside me. Merhaze looked even more flustered with him there. Julian stayed relaxed, peeling shrimp for me like he owned the place. After the meal, I nudged his arm. Aren't you leaving? This place is tiny, no spare bed. He kept his eyes on the TV as if he hadn't heard. I kicked him under the table. Did you hear me? He shot me a wounded look. You said yourself tonight that nothing a good night's sleep can't fix. I had no comeback. I'd used that line on him plenty of times when he was mad. And I was being unreasonable. 10 o'clock came and went. He still didn't budge, and Mr. Hayes were too polite to ask him to go. I finally said, Mom, Dad, I'll drive him back to Eastbrook. Don't wait up. The moment we were outside, Julian floored it to the ground. That night I honestly thought he might kill me. Only later did I realize his kind of killing and mine weren't the same thing. Next morning, Julian dropped me at Riverside's downtown office tower. As I reached for the door, he said, Ori, I'm heading back to Eastbrook today. I stared at him, waiting for the rest. I'll be back in a few days. I needed my sore lower back. Fine by me if you stay away forever. When I didn't answer, he thought I was upset. He caught my hand and murmured, Sorry, I was rough last night. Don't be mad. Next time, I'll be gentler. I glared. Shut up. Inside, I went to check in with my new supervisor and ran straight into a ghost from college. The guy in the white shirt lit up. Ariel. What are you doing in Riverside? It was Ryan, my old classmate who used to skip meals to save money, now my boss. Long story, I'm here to report for duty. He raised an eyebrow. You're the new hire they told me about. I nodded. He grinned. Then dinner's on me after work. We'll catch up. I couldn't really refuse. He was an old friend and now my manager. In the restaurant, Ryan sat opposite me, I smiling. Ariel, you've really changed. My fork paused midair. Everyone does. He tested the waters. How's Julian? Still in Eastbrook. Some family stuff came up, so I moved here. Ryan didn't pry. He laughed instead. Remember when I was too broke to eat? I still owe you those lunches. Memory flooded back. Sophomore year, I dieted so hard I passed out from low blood sugar, scaring Julian half to death. After that, his housekeeper packed me gourmet meals every day. Because we weren't in the same major, Julian could only check at night whether I'd eaten by inspecting my thermos lunchbox, terrified of regaining a single pound. I dumped every meal on Ryan and ordered him to finish it. Julian kept it up for a year, firing for different cooks because my weight never budged. Thinking about it now, I burst out laughing. Ryan lifted his glass. To you, Ariel, thank you. I clinked. Thank the guy who cooked it all. He looked puzzled. Come again? I told him the whole saga. When I finished, Ryan laughed too. Guess I owe Julian a dinner. Exactly, though once he finds out, he'll kill me. Afterward, Ryan drove me home. He stared at the modest apartment block. You live here now? I smiled. Yup. What's wrong with it? He waved hastily. Nothing, it's just surreal. Surreal was the word. The life of estates and chauffeurs I'd led had been stolen, and I knew it. Days slipped by. Little by little, I felt myself settling in with Mr. Hayes. Winter solstice brought Riverside's first snowfall. I stood outside the office, watching flakes drift down. Same time last year, I'd thrown a tantrum because I couldn't get dumplings from Old Road. Julian had braved the storm to fetch them for me. A car pulled up. Ryan rolled down the window. Ariel, let me give you a ride. No need. It's snowing and traffic's murder hard to catch a cab. Ari. I turned. Julian stood behind me under a black umbrella. What are you doing here? He closed the distance and slid an arm around my waist. I've come to take you home. Ryan greeted him with a smile. Julian answered with a curt nod. I waved Ryan off. See you tomorrow. As the taillights disappeared, Julian asked, Who was that? Ryan. Don't you remember? He frowned. Should I? College classmate, I talked about him all the time. He used to starve. Now he's GM. Pretty impressive, right? His jaw tightened. You think he's impressive? Totally. Back then he couldn't afford lunch. I gave him the meals you packed for me. I clapped a hand over my mouth till late. Julian's face went stone black, anger swirling in his eyes. You gave the lunch I brought you to him. Ariel, you really are something else. Realizing he was furious, I hugged his arm at once and wheedled. I'm sorry, okay? I just lost the weight. There was no way I was letting it pile back on. He gave a soft snort and turned his head away. I hooked a hand around his neck and kissed his cheek again and again. That's ancient history. Don't stay mad. His expression eased a fraction, but he still refused to look at me. My own temper flared. I let go, spun around, and stalked off. I barely turned when he scooped me up by the waist. In the back seat, I curled in his lap, cautiously studying his face. Julian set a thermos lunchbox in my hands. I opened it, stared at the dumplings inside, and asked, What's this? He wiped a pair of chopsticks with his handkerchief and handed them over. The dumplings from Old Street. We missed them last year. You soaked for days, remember? I took the chopsticks. The familiar taste spread across my tongue, tears almost dropping into the box. Watching me cry, he looked lost. He brushed the tears from the corners of my eyes. What's wrong? Did they get cold? Taste off? I shook my head, gazing at him while I tucked dumpling after dumpling into my mouth. When I finished, he packed the box away. The easy way he moved brought a fresh sting to my nose. Julian, why are you so good to me? He pulled me close and dropped a kiss on my cheek. Didn't I tell you? You're my future wife. Who else would I spoil? But we already broke the engagement. Ari, I never agreed to break it. Tears brimming, I asked, Then why didn't you call once you knew I'm not a Vance? His face darkened. He tapped my head with 2 knuckles. You've been mad at me for that. I toyed with the button on his suit, eyes lowered. Not just that. He held me tighter, patient. What else? Remembering the humiliation at the welcome home reception, I felt like sobbing. Tears slid onto his jacket one by one. He pulled out a tissue, gently dabbed my cheeks, and softly patted my back. Tell me what happened. You saw me that day. Why didn't you come over? You even frowned at me. Julian pressed his lips together, then explained. The moment I found out you weren't a Vance, I waited for you to tell me yourself. You always ran to me the second anything happened. That frown was because you'd swallowed such a huge grievance without running to me. I greeted your parents first because it was proper etiquette. When I went looking for you afterward, you'd vanished. Do you know how furious I was when I saw your breakup text? But when I finally tracked you down and saw how frightened you looked, all I felt was guilt and heartache. Ari, I'm not letting you go. I want to marry you. Listening, my chest ached. I wrapped my arms tight around his waist. Your parents will never agree to you marrying me. He sighed and rested his chin on top of my head. Whether they agree or not, I'm marrying you. I could clearly see Julian visiting Riverside more and more. Once a week at first, now every other day. He came for nothing else but to have dinner with me. Watching him make the round trip exhausted me on his behalf. Julian, you don't have to shuttle back and forth just to eat with me. Across the table, he jerked his head up. Ari, are you sick of me? No, I just think it's tiring. His brows were upon. Is there someone else, Ryan? What did Ryan have to do with anything? I hurried to explain. There really isn't. I just don't think it's necessary. He looked even more wounded. Ari, you've changed. You used to glue yourself to me 20-4-7. If I didn't answer a text, you'd call within minutes. His complaints gave me a headache. That had indeed been the old me, but back then I had no job and too much free time. Now my work never ended. Who had time to check up on him? When I stayed silent, he went on. These days you never text first, never call first, and you're annoyed that I come to see you. Plus, this whole month you haven't tried to seduce me once. I sprang up and clamped a hand over his mouth. Julian, we're in a restaurant. He stared at me, full of grievance. You really have changed before. You wouldn't have cared. You only worried about your own fun, never about who was watching. I froze. He was describing the spoiled princess I used to be, only now I no longer had the right to act that way. After dinner, he drove me home. I glanced at his sulky profile. At the intersection, I said, turn left up ahead. Your place is to the right. I'm taking you back to the hotel. His eyes lit up at once. The car shot faster through the light. In the parking garage, I undid my seatbelt, climbed over the console, and straddled him. He'd just set off the engine. The interior went dark. His breathing turned hot and rapid. I lifted his chin with my fingertips. I leaned down and captured his lips, nipping lightly. He quickly seized control, tongue slipping past my teeth. His hand gripped the nape of my neck, fingers almost digging in. Even through his suit, his heat scorched me. My hand slid under his waistband, feeling him shudder. I laughed softly. Big brother, does this count as seduction? He muttered a curse, hauled me over his shoulder, and carried me into the hotel. That night was wilder than any we'd ever had. Sofa to the master bath, then the master bath to the bed. My bones felt liquefied. I couldn't even curl my fingers. Julian held me, eyes glowing with satisfied triumph. On Grandfather Vance's birthday, I returned to Eastbrook for the gala birthday dinner. I brought a gift I'd chosen with my own hands. Its price might look pitiful to them, but it came from me. I still call them Mom and Dad, but I knew something between us had changed forever. Seeing Claire again, watching her move comfortably in the circle she'd reclaimed, her gaze confident, and tied the last knot of guilt inside me. Mom and Dad looked at me as though they wanted to speak, but in the end they said nothing. I chose a corner table and sat down. For once, I didn't overhear much gossip. Julian claimed the room the instant he stepped inside. He cut across the crowd, smiling as he came straight toward me. When he stopped in front of me, I asked, "What are you doing?" "Come help me give Grandfather his gift." Every eye swiveled our way. I squirmed. "Go by yourself. I'll wait here." When I refused, he tugged my hand and turned on the baby voice, "Ari, please," till goosebumps raced up my arms. I surrendered, looping my arm through his, and went to wish the old man happy birthday. Still not content, Julian entwined our fingers. Seeing us so cozy, Grandfather beamed. "You two haven't changed a bit. When's the wedding?" My heart clenched. Julian answered with a laugh, "The moment Ari says yes." Mid-party, I slipped to the powder room. On my way out, I ran into Ivy. I tried to detour. She grabbed my wrist. "Ariel, don't think Julian's backing lets you look down on people. With your background, marrying into the Sterling family is pure fantasy." Before I could answer, a voice behind us cracked, "Let go." Julian's eyes locked on Ivy's hand around my wrist. She released me, cheeks mottled with anger. "Julian, she's nothing now. Being with her will only drag you down." "Whether she drags me isn't your call. Getting to stand beside Ariel is my honor." He circled my waist from behind, his sharp gaze fixed on her. "Ari, if you want to curse her, curse. If you want to slap her, slap. Whatever happens, I'll clean it up. I glanced at Julian, then at Ivy's fuming face. Ivy, I know you target me because of Julian, but even without me, he'd never love you. Let yourself go. I hauled Julian away. In the lounge, I flung off his hand. Looking at that face, I snapped, flirt. He caught my fingers at once, whining, it's not my fault. You can't be mad at me because of her. After the gala, he drove me to his estate. Walking back inside, memories flickered like an old film. A question popped out. Julian, why did you ever agree to our engagement? He hugged me from behind. Because I asked your grandfather for it myself. I twisted to stare. You asked, why? He scooped me up, settled on the sofa, brushed a kiss on the corner of my mouth. Simple, I'm in love with you. When did that start? And why me? I was skeptical. Spoiled and bratty used to be my brand. He smoothed my hair, grinning. I've forgotten the exact moment. By the time I noticed, I was already deep in it. As for why, probably because you're fearless and vivid. You always do exactly what you want, no matter what anyone thinks. Touched, I tightened my arms around his neck and whispered, thank you, Julian. He tapped my nose with his. Really want to thank me? Then marry me. I huffed. That proposal is downright lazy. So tell me how you want it done. I daydreamed aloud. At the very least, there should be a yacht, roses, and a ring. He only smiled, saying nothing. The day before I went back to Riverside, Julian said he was taking me to a dinner. I changed into the gown he'd prepared, an elaborate white creation that looked almost medieval bridal. He wore a crisp white tuxedo, every hair in place. I couldn't remember ever seeing him in white. The suit might have been cut on his body. The man could carry anything. Studying our reflection, I muttered, we're this formal. Feels like we're off to get married. Julian coughed. You'll see when we arrive. As the car rolled on, the streets grew emptier. The skyline vanished. What kind of banquet hides this far from downtown? We stopped beside a river. Julian opened my door. A yacht waited at the dock, deck carpeted ankle-deep in white roses. He led me aboard, then pulled a ring from his pocket and knelt. Ari, lately life's thrown us curveballs, but I want you to know, whatever happens, I love you. Anytime, anywhere, I've got your back. Be exactly who you want to be. Ariel, I love you. Marry me. Tears beat my smile to the finish line. I sniffled and nodded. Apparently happiness arrives teary-eyed. He slid the ring on, kissed my fingertips, rose, dried my cheeks, and cupped my face for a long kiss. Fireworks burst overhead. In that instant, the world shrank to just us two. On the drive home, I asked, does your family know you proposed? He replied, I work this hard so I can do what I want, like marrying the woman I choose. The next spring, I transferred to Eastbrook. Julian finally stopped shuttling between cities. In May, on a day of soft blossoms, I married him. I left from Riverside. Grandfather Vance and my parents flew in to send me off. In my wedding gown, I listened to the officiant, watching Julian across the aisle, eyes stinging again. Don't cry, he mouthed. I smiled. The tears only welled thicker. I do. We spoke the words together, softly, yet the whole chapel heard. Thank you for listening to today's story. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate it? If you enjoyed the video, please like and share with friends. We look forward to your comments. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories. See you next time.